am so excited to be able to introduce our guest speaker today. We met several years ago at a meeting that was geared to build support for women's sports at UCF. We started chatting, we hit it off, and found out our kids were in school together and everything else. And we've been friends ever since. But I've always been in such awe of and inspired by Tiffany Roberts Sahaydak and all of her amazing accomplishments. She was named UCF's head women's soccer coach in 2013. And has been named the American Athletic Conference Coach of the Year 3 times. Since arriving here, the UCF Knights have earned 4 NCAA tournament bids, 4 American Athletic Conference championships, and 11 Conference Players of the Year. And a nice little tidbit of information is Tiffany was born in Petaluma, California. So kind of like, woohoo, we got some Petaluma office members on the call. She grew up in San Ramon, California, and was selected as California High School Soccer Player of the Year, named All-American numerous times, and was a 2-time National Girls High School Player of the Year. At the age of 16, she was one of the youngest players on the U.S. national team. She played her first FIFA Women's World Cup after just turning 18. She won an Olympic gold medal before she turned 20. It's all crazy. She went on to play soccer for North Carolina as a 3-time All-ACC first-team selection and led the Tar Heels to 2 NCAA titles. She was voted ACC Tournament MVP and still ranks in the top 5 for career starts for UNC. There's just so much that I could say about her. She spent a decade with the U.S. national team playing in 3 World Cups, including that unforgettable 1999 championship. She won that gold medal that I am still hoping she lets me wear out one day. I keep asking her to let me wear her gold medal. And she was captain of the Carolina Courage, helping them win the title in 2002. And like I said, there's so many more things that I could go on and on and on, but I do eventually let her need to talk. So I wanted to thank her so much for being here, everyone. Tiffany Roberts Sahaydak.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. Diane, you're the cutest, sweetest woman. Shout out for the nice introduction. Diane was secretly scared of giving that bio, so you did great. Thank you. But thanks for having me, guys. It's great seeing everybody's faces. Bill Pepler, what's up? I don't know, is John on here too, Diane?
I think just listening.
Okay,
he's listening. I don't think he's on.
I actually walked out of the office.
There he is.
Okay.
Hi.
Well, shout out to the people. There might be more people that I know there, but also Petaluma. I know we have some Petaluma people on here. Actually, have not been back to Petaluma in so many years. So, looking forward to going back. My family still lives in San Ramon, the East Bay. So maybe next time I go back, my husband Tim and I will take our kids. We have a 10-year-old and a 12-year-old, 2 daughters. So Petaluma holds a very special place in my heart. So does California. But again, thanks for having me, guys. We're living in crazy times right now for so many reasons. But I'd love to just share a little bit of what I've learned, really, I would say, from the U.S. Women's National Team with my experience there. I was 16 years old, being invited to my first U.S. Women's National Team camp. So if you can kind of picture yourself, if any of you are athletes or still aspiring athletes, or think about it. Okay, we don't even have to be in the athletic world. Any world you want to be in. Think about who your role models are. As a 16-year-old, who were your role models? So, my role model as a 16-year-old was, Mia Hamm. I had a picture of her teared out from the People magazine, put it in my binder, my high school binder, so I could look at it for inspiration every day when I'm in school, because I wanted to be like her. That's what I wanted to do. And then, weeks later, I'm being invited into camp to be in camp training with Mia Hamm as a 16-year-old. So this was mind-blowing for me. I definitely didn't feel like I deserved it. I was not good enough, because obviously you hold all of your role models, on a huge pedestal. So you're thinking, what the heck am I doing here as a 16-year-old? So it was it was scary and intimidating. But I'll tell you what, the thing that I learned about being on the national team, and I learned this at a young age, obviously just since I was so young. And the national team players were, I would say the next closest teammate was probably 5 years older than me. And then I had teammates that were 10 years older than me. So there was a big age gap. So joining a team that was the best in the world, so it had the best players in the world, I learned that, you know, not only were they best at their sport, but they were kick-ass women off the field too. And so I grew up really with this environment where, I mean, that's the most amazing leadership like training you can ever have as a 16-year-old, getting dropped in onto a team that had the best leaders, the best, you know, players in their sport, the best role models. And I just literally watched them and observed them every day. So I'm very thankful that I had that, you know, training and got to watch them, how to behave, how to take care of each other, what that winning culture looks like, and what leadership should look like. So I was just really, really blessed being in that environment. So fast forward, you know, then my husband and I actually coached together. That's another talk for another day, maybe. Working, Diane, I guess you and John can relate, but Tim and I working together, we've only coached together. And we've been coaching collegiately now for almost 14 years. Fast forward, going to, you know, being a college coach, I figured, you know, there's some things that, obviously a lot of things that I learned being on the national team, but how can I like sum this up and put it in a neat little package and teach my players? So if I want to teach the players culture, if I can pull a few little tidbits out from my experience, like what sticks out the most? And so those are the things that I want to share with you, is what I basically share with our team every preseason. We do these things all throughout the year. It's, you know, you talk about core values, but for us, we do have those, but I also am action oriented. So I'm like, okay, how do you take these core values and turn them into action every day? And so I came up with everyday actions. So we talk about everyday actions, and we've listed, Tim and I put our heads together and said, okay, what are these everyday actions that we can kind of hold our players accountable and say, you know, are you doing these everyday actions? And they're really easy. So don't think I'm coming up with some crazy stuff here, but actually watch the John Gordon video. Diane sent that to me just to give me a heads up on what these have looked like. By the way, why am I following John Gordon? Like, he's like a legend. Okay, so anyway, these everyday actions. Number one, be your best. Very simple. Like, why not be your best every day? Can you look at yourself in the mirror by the end of the day and say, I was my best? And for that day, you know, I'm not saying you have to win a gold medal or, you know, break a record every day, but like, were you your best on that day? And that's all you can ask. So we talk about being competitive. And, you know, a lot of people say, well, yeah, I'm competitive, I don't like to lose. I'm kind of like, well, who does like to lose? That's kind of, to me, I don't really like that answer. You're not competitive because you don't like to lose, because you're just like everybody else in the world. If you're competitive because you're trying to be your best every day. Are you looking at yesterday and saying, okay, well, how can I better myself today? And I use this for not just, you know, being a coach or when I was a player, you know, technically was I better? I mean, this is in all aspects of my life. So when I talk to my UCF players, we're talking about academics, our behavior off the field, everything. You could talk about being your best. So that's that competitive piece. Number two is, like John Gordon, choosing a positive attitude. And I like to use the word choose because you get to the choice, as we all know, every morning when we wake up. We're going to say, you know, I'm human. So there are days where I'm like, shit, I don't feel good. You know, and then I have to kind of reframe, change my attitude and say, no. I check myself and say, no, today's going to be a great day. Today's going to be a great day. We had this amazing sports psychologist, and she would tell us, fake it till you make it. And I don't know if you've heard that term, but I have to use that often, where I wake up. Okay, even if I'm not feeling great, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to fake it till make it. I'm choosing positivity today. And honestly, things kind of follow that. I attract things that are positive once I put a smile on my face, even if it's a little fake in the beginning. With myself, it will become natural. So choose positivity. Next, it kind of goes with this, but I want to make it clear, and this is really for my college kids, because we seem to be an entitled nation, community is young student athletes. So I just remind them that number 3 is we don't complain and we don't whine. So that's important to me, because I think it's really easy to have behavior, because if you're complaining about something, you kind of just pull someone in and you pull someone else in, and it's like, why would you want to do that? So I ask our players often to check themselves and check each other on that accountability piece about complaining, because what do we have to complain about, really, right? We're student athletes. We have amazing facilities. We're getting our education paid for. We're getting educated. There's so many things. So you just kind of have to reframe, change your attitude, and think about appreciation instead of complaining, because those two things come in hand to hand. Can't be appreciative and be complaining at the same time. So you could just switch your mindset. And then lastly, and this is what I really, really, really learned from the national team, is that we take care of each other. And that sense of family, that sense of community is so important. It was so important to me as a young player on the national team, because I love the competitive spirit and that pressure and going out there and competing at the highest level as a young athlete. But if when practice was over, and if you still felt that pressure and that grind, I don't know if I would have lasted after one camp. But the fact that I had teammates that put their arms around me, made me feel valuable, told me good job, or hey, let's work on this together. It really helped me develop and really helped me feel valuable on such an amazing team. And so that taking care of each other part, I think really was the piece I think that helped me last to be on the national team for 10 years. Because all that competition, I mean, that is, like I'm telling you, it's a grind. It's hard. That motivation to stay fit when you don't have a pro league to play in, or you don't have games at that time. We didn't have a professional league early on, so you had to find your own ways to stay fit. So that taking care of each other is just, you guys know, when you take care of each other, it feels good, and it motivates you. At least it does for me. So those are 4 things that I can tell you, that I can sum up my experiences that I learned that I now tell my team. So I could really go on forever, but Diane said you only have 15 minutes. I probably already over my time, so I'm sorry. Diane, are we doing Q&A or?
I think Diane's on mute.
Bill, do you want to add in anything? Or?
Well, I just think, one, we appreciate you coming on. It's really amazing. Everyone should watch the documentary. I think it was called The 99ers on ESPN. That was amazing. The team from 1999 are trailblazers in women's sports, in all of sports, quite frankly. But it's just amazing to know you personally and to share your experiences with us. We can't thank you enough. Are you open to, if we throw it out to Q&A, if anyone has any questions, feel free to raise your hand.
Hey, I have a question. It's Noelle. Hey, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I just was curious. I imagine that you're still interacting a lot with your players right now during everything. Do you have any good advice or encouragement that you give some of your players that are maybe feeling defeated right now with COVID and everything? Anything that helps that you advise them to keep them motivated, keep them excited, and kind of get through day by day?
Actually, I took notes before this meeting just to get my mind right. I actually had that on a separate piece because I didn't know how long I would talk for, but I figured that would be something important in these times. For me, communication, I used words like communication and connection. For me, was the most important thing for my team during this time. And so just making sure that it's awesome to see that you guys are having calls like this or bringing on speakers. We did the exact same thing because it's defeating and it's deflating. And say for student athletes, it's hard to stay motivated, to stay fit when you don't even know if your schedule is going to be what it is. And so it's a very different time. So I think that connection helps. So seeing each other's faces, and giving them little tasks. So the task could be, I've been sending them like cool podcasts, because I figured, okay, you go on a run and you can listen to something. So that's how I've been staying motivated myself, is giving myself like a little workout plan each week and sticking to that. And I'll change it every week so I don't get bored with it. And then I assign podcasts to myself. And then I try and reach out and we share those podcasts, then we come back on, and then that might be part of our discussion when we come back. But it's just, I'm sure you guys have heard a lot about just reframing everything, you know, just, it is crazy times, and accept that is crazy time. That's, again, this is how I deal with it. Is I'm not like, you know, I'm not a psychologist, so I don't know for sure, but for me, what works is I reframe everything and I try to be really appreciative for what I do have and what I do have control of. So I can control my mind and my body right now. And so those little workouts, listening to podcasts that are motivating, seeing my team, like I'm hoping that that helps them with their motivation, but you know, it inspires me to see them. But communication and connection, reaching out to individuals on my team, just, hey, how's it going? It just helps, I think, keep everyone together at a time when we still have so many, just think like right now, we do not know if fall sports are going to have a season and a championship. And so, you know, how do we, I think the more we can communicate, and even if we don't have answers right now, I think that's been helpful for my team.
Awesome. Thank you, Tiffany.
Thanks.
Anybody else have anything for Tiffany? All right. Well, hey, we appreciate it so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, you guys. You all have a good day, and hopefully I can see you guys again. I know Diane's asked me to come see you guys before in person, so maybe we can do that again sometime, Diane.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. We really do.
All right, you guys, take care. Have a great day.